a duo prepared to light up the path, to bridge every gap. Access meets opportunity, there's no turning back. Forward with fortitude, the future's in sight. Together we rise like stars in the night. Authenticity reigns, love leads the way. We're speaking in harmony every single day. Speak harmony, let your voice intertwine. So let's move forward, ever bold and true. With Sharon and Tamara, the vision breaks through. Speak harmony where hearts align.
Boy.
Speak harmony.
I tell you, each time I hear it, I still can't get my mind wrapped around everything that's happening. Welcome, everyone to Speak Harmony. I am Tamara Gammon with my host and co-host of the most.
Sharon Thompson. What a day. Thank you, Lord, for this day that you've made. It is an amazing day.
Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
And we are.
Listen,
we are.
I'm
Coming
excited.
hot on the heels of the Marcus Garvey unveiling.
Yeah, the symposium last week, Tuesday.
Let me tell you, if
still
you weren't there,
yeah,
you missed it.
You had to be in the room. Big Bethel was the place to be last week,
Holy
Tuesday,
ground.
as we celebrated Marcus Garvey and the movie Mosiah and the people who were in the room, the change makers of the Jamaican diaspora, not just Jamaican diaspora, I think
The
overall,
world
the world
at large. The world at large, because we represented the world right there in that church on last Tuesday. It was amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you. And we're going to get into it because, listen, we've got a jammed house. I mean, really?
Of all the times, I said that Women's History ended yesterday, which actually doesn't. We're going to celebrate Women's History for this entire first half of the year. And we have some amazing ladies in studio with us, and we have some on the Zoom. And we are so excited to bring women together, to build a community of women, people who are making a difference within or here in Atlanta and worldwide, because the impact grows as we see that every day. And as we come together and work together, we have some amazing women in our midst.
We do. We're honored. We're really honored. I mean, to have them right here and to be associated, to be connected with them. And so we're not going to even waste any time, because time is of the essence.
It surely is.
And let me tell you, first of all, we're going to kick off with a group right here in Georgia, a local group headed up by the Marcia Parker, JAICC. The acronym stands for
Jamaica America International Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. There she is.
International,
Yes.
Yes.
We're gone abroad.
Very direct. Intentional.
I love the intentional. As you said, Ms. Marcia, talk about being intentional. Why was this group formed?
So this group was formed because a lot of small businesses and minority businesses have no idea of how to access information to grow, and the way they can grow, like creating visibility, driving sales, and doing much more to their business, changing to the season, doing little small stuff to engage new and old customers, keep old customers and engage new customers. They have no idea. And stats show that within the first 2 years, a lot of small business is closed. Why is that, though? And our survey showed that is because they don't have the necessary tools, the necessary information to keep them. So some people might have a bright idea. I want to start a business, a hairdressing business, but they don't have the tools to sustain them in
Absolutely.
that business.
Sustainability is a big word. And as we talk about that, as we're entering Q2 right now, and we talk about action items that we need to take as small business owners, because I'm an entrepreneur myself and a small business owner, we have an amazing lady next to us, and she talked about earlier about risk management. How important is it to talk about risk management and to manage what could possibly happen with a business, and just being able to look at a business the ROI that is there, but also understanding, as we said, risk.
Sustenance.
Yes.
Sustaining.
Thank you, Tamara. My name is Nali Daly. Good evening, everyone. I am the
evening.
agency owner of Nali Daly State Farm Agency, and I'm located in Hampton, Georgia. I am passionate about business owners, and the reason I am is that I left State Farm Corporate to become a business owner myself because of the gaps that I see. There are so many business owners who have never done any form of retirement planning. They don't have any life insurance. And that is where I come in. I do have the expertise to be able to help them to get to that next step in their operations.
And you said something right there. When you said leaving corporate to do your own thing, I like that part. Because that's where Marcy Parker decided there are chambers of commerces out there. There's corporate, and there are other folks out there. But I like that word, grassroots. Those words, there's two words, grassroots. In other words, for the small person, that small business that's not getting the attention that they need, they're not being able to sustain themselves. This is where you come in. And we've got guests, we have got two other guests who are online who know very well about that. So I'm going to call on one of them right now. I'm going to put her on the spot, Nicole Palmer. Nicole, let me tell you, she is a business owner, and she's not small by any stretch, but she started out with a bang. She hit the ground running. Nicole Palmer, you take it away, my dear, because if I started your bio, we'll be here until next Tuesday or beyond. So just give us a snippet of what you do, and then we're going to bring in our other guest. Nicole Palmer, go ahead, please.
Hi, Sharon. How are you? Thanks
I
for
am
having
well.
me. Good night, ladies. Marcia,
Good
thank
evening.
you. Hi, I'm Tammy. Nice to meet you. And my name is Nicole Palmer, and I am the owner of Nicole Williams Collective. Formerly, I am known as a brand strategist and a business coach. And basically, what my business does is we help professionals, entrepreneurs, small businesses, basically leaders and organizations across industries make mindset shifts, drive strategic change, and basically create transformative impact when it comes to their business as a way to help them to build more credibility, be more visible, of course, be more profitable. And so we cover several areas when we work with our entrepreneurs and professionals. And we do that through strategic advising, strategic planning. We brand coaching, business coaching, marketing communications. We cover a slew of areas when it comes to business to help them to grow their business sustainably and confidently.
I love strategy. Strategy in itself, being a strategic planner. When you look at growth and development, as Ms. Parker said earlier, most businesses fail within the first 2 years. So we have to be very strategic. So it's very important as we come together today and we're sitting at this table, we're creating our own table. Instead of waiting for someone to do it, we have now formed something that says we have the tools collectively, independently, that can help businesses thrive. And it is very important for us to think about thriving and the success, but it takes planning. It takes preparation to do so. And, you know, our next guest, Miss Keisha Porter, who's also on, how important is it for you to have strategy with what you do now?
Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you.
I'm Keisha Porter, as you said. My business is, I'm in the business of helping immigrants to navigate the complex immigration processes, right? I've been there, I've done it, and so we're helping immigrants to get to where they want to be, whether it's just getting a visa, whether it's naturalizing or getting the green card. And strategy plays a very, very big role, especially in this season that we're in right now.
Yes.
Like, we're in unprecedented times, and without the proper strategies, we cannot win.
Wow. And so you hit another key point, because strategy is that word, that operative word that we use. Without that, we don't exist, because we have to be strategic in everything that we do, especially as immigrants. And honestly, sitting here, I think there may be only one person sitting in this room right now of all of us, 6, 7 of us.
Yes.
That's not an immigrant. So, I mean, it covers the whole gamut. I mean, that word immigrant. And so we're not strangers to this island, to this country, to this world. We belong here. Wherever we go, we set up shop, we do what we do. And this is why we need to connect. We have to be in unison. We have to be on one accord.
Absolutely.
Okay? We have to be the change agents. And therefore, we cannot have fear. And that fear mongering that's allowed to permeate our atmosphere right now. We have to be bold. So we've got to connect with each other.
Each one teach
Listen,
one.
yeah, time gone by. I mean, where we were competing with each other. This is the time, and this is where Speak Harmony comes in. That we are collaborating.
Yes.
We're saying, hey, look, those old days are out the window. We've got to come together. And for those naysayers, sorry, we don't have time for you.
It's
Say that.
interesting that you said that. For me, when I look at this table and the ladies online, you see what's possible.
Yes. Absolutely.
So it goes beyond whether you're female. I know it's a female forum, but whomever you are, this is what's possible.
Yes.
So
The village.
The village.
The village is very important as we go, and each person within that village has a specialty, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We are all SMEs in our own right. And in a village, you had one person that did the healing, one person that did the teaching, one person that did trade, one person that did the development that happened. And I think we need to go back to that basic philosophy and mentality. And as we sit at this table, as you said before, and people who are online, we need everybody who's sitting at this table right now.
We do. But we're also supposed to be in preparation mode. And like I told a young lady just recently, a younger sister, I said to her, I don't know who we're going to pass the baton on to. Because if we're not doing what's right, Nicole, for example, she can speak on that because she's got 2 daughters. And Nicole, I'm putting you on full blast tonight because I know that. I know that for a fact that she has 2 daughters that are entrepreneurs. They're not playing. She's a 10-year-old and a 10-year-old, right? Is she 10? 12, okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to age myself by telling you.
Oh, no, girl,
Listen to
please.
me.
Girl, please. But
I have adult children, so don't feel any way about it.
it's all good. So what it is that we have to be able to prepare them. And a lot of stuff is getting lost on us. Shame on us. Because we've learned how to bake the cake. We have the recipes in our heads. But guess what? Our daughters, our granddaughters, our nieces and nephews, I'm going to include them too, they don't have a clue. So we've got to start. We really have to get from that place, Marcia, where we're holding our cards to our chests. We've got to release it and say, you know what? We're preparing the next generation.
We have to document this as well.
We have to.
Yeah.
We've got to. We've got to have that. And so this is where this forum comes in. So you're right, Tammy. There's an artist. There's a trade person over here. But you know what? How about cross-training? I believe in that because I'm not an artist by any stretch. But you know what? If push comes to shove and I have to, I'm going to start doing something. Because I've heard on too many occasions where someone just picked up that paintbrush or whatever it is, or that pencil and started. Exactly.
Creativity, it's not just about drawing with creativity. There's so many things that we do within our lives to be creative. And when we're doing marketing and strategy and we're putting that out there, it's very important.
It is.
You have to be. And we'll talk about documentation. Yesterday, I went to see a documentary about Nellie Mae Rowe, who was a folk artist. And her life is now being documented. And it's about what she did right here in Georgia, and her family is now taking up the baton and carrying it along. And that being said, is that we need to have these conversations on a Sunday, as we did in Jamaica, as we did here in the South, on the veranda, in the saloon, whatever it is. And we're talking about things that are making an impact in our world today. We're talking about immigration and how it's very much important that it affects all of us, even though we've been here naturalized or not, how immigration helps with trade and development, how immigration helps
Economically.
Yes.
the economic trade that happens with us as immigrants, because many times we come into this country and we have to work 5 times as hard to get to a place where we need to. And so we have to talk about that to the next generation so they understand, because they don't understand the struggles that we had coming into this country.
Of course, DEI, what is that?
They have
no clue.
Because they're born into it.
Correct. And it really, technically, it doesn't affect them
No.
per se. It really doesn't. We're the ones. So they in the back of their minds, we really have to educate them. It is so serious that we need to do that. We've got to tell them. Go ahead,
I was
Natalie,
gonna
because I
say
hear your
that-
brain
No,
tickling.
I was just saying that in Proverbs it tells you that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And sometimes we relate that to material stuff, but it's the traditions,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And how do you leave an inheritance for your children's children? Of course, with insurance.
Yes.
And then you document it, like
Right.
you said, Tamara, and make sure it's carried on and passed on so it doesn't get lost.
How many times
Correct.
have people gone now and getting?
Uh-oh.
I'm going to come to you.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, adding on to what Natalie's saying, and you talk about, Tammy said something about our economic or personal and professional. And the way I look at it is, also, a lot of times we use the term, my definition of the term entrepreneurship as more to do with not just about business, because most of the time we think about entrepreneurship and we automatically think business owners. My definition of entrepreneurship has more to do with being able to leverage the resources you have on hand to be able to reach your end goal. And I think if we learn how to leverage our resources, whether you work a job, whether you have a business, to reach your end goal, what do you have in hand and how do you make that work for you? And I think being able to help others to understand what skills do you have, what do you know how to do, or what have you spent years developing over the years, whatever you learned on your job or on the trade or whatever it is, and how do you leverage that into something that can help you, your personal and professional economy.
Well said. And
Wow.
That's a food for thought.
Yes. Say
Yeah.
it again. Did you say leverage? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Leverage.
Miss Parker,
That's the
how
word.
do you help this next generation that we have coming? How do we help them? What advice would you give us as parents? I have adult children and a teenage one, but how do we help the next generation?
I have young adolescent, if that's what you want to call them. And one of the hardest thing is to get them to keep the traditions. And I thought about this yesterday. I was saying when my aunts were alive, they would make sure every Sunday everybody's sitting at the table to have Sunday dinner. But my son would go to play soccer, and it's hard to trap them, to get them. So the documentation part is what we have to use, and we have to also adjust ourselves to what they are doing to help teaching them. For example, my son plays soccer, and I'll say to him at times, what can I do with your football club to talk to them about business, to get them to understand? And he'll come and he'll say, some of his friends know me well, and they'll say, Mummy, next week I wanted to make some juice for the soccer player. And they will come to the house. Some of the soccer players will come to the house sometimes, because sometimes their clothes are washed at my house.
Wow.
But we have to use what they like to capture their attention, because they think differently from us, and they're not scared to tell us that we're dinosaur. They're not scared to tell us that we are old. They're not scared to tell us that was from 19 how long. My son and I laughed at these jokes all the time when we have conversations. Like, he'll be like, Mommy, that's where your mother used to do. I'm not going to do that. And he's straightforward like that. He said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. That's what your mother did. I'm not going to do that. So we have to document it, as Nali suggested, and we have to try to adjust to their thing.
Yes.
Their thing, to get them to do it. My daughter, on the other hand, she is more into it, all of it. She
Adaptable, huh?
Adaptable.
Yeah.
She will come out with me.
Yes.
My son will come out too, but just for the fun part of it, not really the hard work. But he will tell you about how my mother made me do this. But my daughter more, she is into it because she has a daughter and she has to prepare for her daughter. And her daughter is into it because from time to time she will call to ask questions. Grandma, how this is done? Why was this done? Stuff stuff like that, and we'll be having conversation. But the conversations are needed to have, whether it's around the table or with them individually or with them at the playing field, the soccer field.
Meet them where they are.
Meet them where they are. That's it.
Have
Meet
the
them where they are.
conversation
Yes.
with them.
It says
Grab
seek
their attention
first to understand, then to be understood.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Stephen Covey talks about this, about
Yes.
in training and leadership and development, we have to seek first to understand.
Absolutely.
And today I did career day with some elementary school students and talking about entrepreneurship, because we have to start them early, right? And as you said, it's not just starting about making money at a job. It's about a skill
Yes.
set that we have, because when we go
Yes.
back to it, we have to put something aside and we have to trade, because we're always going to need somebody who's skilled, a
Yes.
carpenter, somebody who sews, somebody who does
Yes.
something.
Yes.
But we have to make sure that we're putting something in front of them that they can see and feel and they understand.
And
Yeah.
something that can hold their
Yeah.
interest.
Hold
Because
their
if we put everything in front of them,
Oh, yeah.
and they have no interest, guess what? We've just lost the whole generation.
Yeah.
And I find that, and I will go there because we're in our community. And I will say the Jamaican community, the Caribbean community, African community, at large, African American. A lot of stuff gets lost. It gets left on us. It's left on us because they're not interested, and we are not piquing their interest because of how we're presenting it. We have to unravel it. We have to rewrap. We have to change the label because what we're doing is, like Marcy said, guess what? We're using the same label that Ma and Pa used
Right.
300 years ago. So we've got to meet them where they are.
Where
We have to
Yeah.
and
Outside the box.
Yeah.
say it again. Say it again.
Outside the
Nicole?
box.
Yes,
Outside the box.
we do.
Yes.
I mean, think
We
about
do.
it, how many roles we have in, our roles or ways to make money that was never there how many years ago?
Correct.
And so what happens is, everyone grew up thinking there was just this one way or this straight way or this linear line to success. And so if you show people how to think outside the box and take the things that they know how to do and how to elevate that to a whole nother level, the game changes.
It does. It does.
And with the internet
But everything,
too,
if I may
Oh, Ms. Porter.
interject,
Yes, Ms. Porter, go ahead.
starts from the foundation, right? I believe it starts from schooling, where we grab their attention. Like for me, I too have adult children. My kids were homeschooled, and we did school the traditional way for a while. And then I said, hold on a second. You guys are excelling in one area and not excelling in another.
Absolutely.
What if we did all robotics, since that is what you liked? And so we got books. They learned to read, and it was something that they were interested in. My son liked biology, and at 6, he was reading chemistry biology, while
Wow.
he would not be interested in reading the regular text school books because that was not his liking. So if we start from the foundation, I think the next generation that will come after our children will be in a better place.
Correct.
If we water their interests.
And I think
And you were saying something.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
and to add to what Keisha just says, just momentarily, is that you're so right about the fundamentals. Is to get them to have the fundamentals to get them where they're going, but also with the internet, sometimes they stray from that. And if you notice within our community, our Jamaican community, we have a high level of brain drain. Nobody wants to do agriculture. Nobody not even teaching. Nobody wants to teach no more. Nobody wants to do. So they're importing people from other places to come to Jamaica to do these types of job. That and the funny thing about that, if when the brains leave Jamaica, they come here, they might be working in doing a CNA job
Yes,
or
right, yes.
something like that.
Yes.
How funny that is, but.
Qualified people.
Iron
Qualified
of it,
people.
yeah.
But the skills, nobody wants to do the agriculture again. So you know what we're looking at? We're looking at different ways that they can do the agriculture without getting their hands
Dirty.
Oh,
right.
Because if you're afraid of the dirt, how is it that we can help you to plant? Because we have to eat.
Yes.
We need this
Exactly.
stuff. And health is a big thing now. We have to eat what we grow now.
Your health is your wealth.
And that's why I know everything is kind of interrelated.
It is.
In a sense where we have to be teaching them, we have to be telling them. And sometimes when I use like old phrase to my kids, they laugh at me. They're like, I've never heard that before. She said, I know you're going to grow you, but mom.
Oh yeah. but we gotta drop those nuggets.
Listen,
though.
but we
gotta
have
drop
to.
them.
We have to drop them for them
Yes.
to understand
Yeah.
sometimes, like, you know, this is what I'm saying, though. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
So in these last 5 minutes that we have, because time is of the essence, we could just go on and on because this is amazing. What we're having here right now, culture. It's culture. It's our traditions. So I'm just going to give you ladies, because we've got no time left. We're out of time pretty much. I'm going to give you 1 minute, exactly 1 minute each, to just put some words out there to the folks.
I can start. I really want to give shout out to the JAICC.
Yes.
And if there are any business
Yes.
owners who don't know where to start, see Marcia Parker. She has the connections that you need to help you and to connect you with the right people.
Awesome.
Kudos.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Miss Marcia, go right
So,
ahead.
I can go. I want persons to remember that if you have a dream, make that dream becomes a reality, because the scripture tells us that God never give us the spirit of fear. And when you don't work on it, it's your fear that is holding you back. The what ifs are fear. Build on your dreams and make it become that reality. Put it into practice. Write the vision. Make it clear.
Yes.
Make it plain so that others can see it. So if you have this business idea, get up and do it,
Right.
please.
And don't be afraid to
And
to
don't
reach
be
out to
afraid.
Anali, to reach out to
Yes.
Nicole, to reach out Miss Porter, to reach out to Miss Parker, to reach out to everyone and just say, hey, I don't know how to do this. Can you
Yeah.
help me? Mentor
Can
me.
you help me?
Nicole, go ahead, quick. You got 1 minute. And then Miss Porter.
Fantastic.
Miss Porter.
Basically, I want to tell everyone your mindset is either the fuel or the brake to literally everything that you're building or trying to build. You know, it's either it's going to stop you or it's going to propel you. And so what happens is, on top of that, you want to surround yourself. Like Natalie said, she talked about Marcia. Marcia talked about, you know, community. But you want to surround yourself with a circle of people who are going to push you towards your dreams and who are going to be in that room for you when you're not even in the room. You know, Marcia, you know, she's the one today just call me and say, hey, Nicole. But so what happens is surround yourself with coaches, mentors, sponsors, and just remember that it starts with you. So that brain is either going to be a fuel or it's going to be a brake towards everything you're doing.
Absolutely.
I like that. And Miss Porter, you've got the final word, sister. Go ahead.
So my final word would be to be intentional. Be intentional about your circle. Join a JAICC. Be intentional about the rooms that you're trying to get into. Be intentional about the dreams that you have for yourself. Be intentional about those goals and be intentional about the strategies that you're going to put in place to accomplish the things that you're trying to get to.
Amazing.
Man.
Oh. So here's my takeaway from all this. We have a women's conference right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I see it for some reason, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Just the nuggets that you've all dropped today, the conversations that we've had in this short time and space. If we have we're able to expand and expound on this is a conference within itself.
That's
because we have a wealth of knowledge
Yes.
as we sit at this table. And it's many times that we need to stop saying, I'm going to do something and do it.
True.
Right? We need to create it. So I'm going to launch
Quit
that
looking
right here.
outside.
I'm
Be about
Looking
it.
outside.
Be about
You got
it.
it right here.
Let's go. So I always say, I'm just a girl with a dream. That's my slogan, has been for the last 13 years. It's about having a dream. And that dream has now created 4 different businesses that I currently run. And so, and I'm going to say it right here with JAIC. Let's talk about how can we create a women's conference, and we don't have to wait until Women's History Month.
That's
No.
correct.
We don't have to wait until when everybody else is celebrating this. Why can't we do this within the next 3 to 6 months?
Correct.
Why can't we have these conversations
Be the exception.
on a consistent basis?
Yes.
Have these conversations that impact every part of our life. Because right now, immigration is a big thing. We need to talk about it within our community, so how we can help people. Insurance is very important for us to have insurance, so we're not having to raise money when people are dying, and we can use insurance for different reasons. We have to talk about entrepreneurship and strategizing. How can we pull money together? There are resources that are there, even though we've lost DEI, there are other resources that are there.
That is correct.
Talk about the mindset. How are we transitioning our mindset? So when we talk about this, Speak Harmony is about collaboration. How we collaborate. So we're going to kick this off right here.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
I
yes.
agree.
We've got to do it. I mean, honestly, I just want to say thank you again to you ladies for coming in. It's where access meets opportunity. Man, if we could just extend this time. Time is always too short. You know, it's of the essence, really, because goodness gracious, we've got another segment.
Yes, coming up.
But
we
you
hope
know,
all can
Tammy,
stick back.
stick around, please,
Yes.
if you can, because we've got one person, and we're gonna take a commercial break, and we're gonna come right back because we have another very interesting and amazing person that's coming up. So I want to just run into our commercial break.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies,
Speak
again
Harmony.
for coming.
Having me.
Thank you so
Speak
much.
Harmony.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was great.
Welcome back to the second segment of Speak Harmony. We just want to say we're thankful to APAT Media, who is our sponsor,
Yes.
who every week, I mean, we can literally, what they say, put our pot on the, in Jamaica, that's what they say, put your pot on the fire. Don't know what's going to go into it, but let me tell you, you can guarantee that you're going to have a Mr. P. APAT Media, guys, is a full-service creative media and photo production company specializing in podcasting, multi-camera recording, and live streaming. You can contact them at email info@apatmedia.com. Thank you again, Mr. P. APAT Media, always looking out for us, like State Farm, like a good agent. You're there.
State Farm is here. Nally's
there. Yes.
But listen, that
Let
first
me
segment,
tell
we're
you
so excited
how
about what
awesome.
just happened. And as we come on and we talk about collaboration, we talk about being here. Last week, we got a good opportunity to see collaboration at its finest.
At its finest.
As the AJA was a part of it, and as we created an atmosphere of excellence.
Yes. APAP was represented, and we thank you again, Mr. P, for being there to facilitate that. Now, our next guest that's coming up, let me tell you, this young lady, Joey Hamilton. She's not only an author, she hails from Jamaica. She resides in Canada. But let me tell you, she's got 2 books out, Tammy. I mean, this lady, she is amazing. Okay? She talks about growing up in Kingston, and she chronicles everything. I mean, like her first book is geared towards her formative years,
right.
her orientation, and then she transitions into the second book. I want to bring up Joey Hamilton. Are you there? Oh, there she is. Hello and welcome. So good to see you. All the way from JA. That's where she is. I'm jealous.
I know we would like to be there in the sun and in the.
Let me
amazing-
tell you.
Thank
Let
you
me
so
tell
much
you.
for coming on. We appreciate you taking the
Thank you so
time.
much. Well, thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Sharon, for having me on. It's my privilege, totally.
You're welcome, my dear. And so you've got a whole plethora of stuff going on. You've got the book, I mean, you're in ministry. I mean, because you're a missionary as well. You know, I mean, you've been a part of the Canadian Mounted Police Troop, and I'm like, contractor. I mean, what? Businesswoman.
So many lives.
We're talking about women and business, but you've worn all the hats over here. I mean, we've got those kind of people. We attract those kind of people at Speak Harmony. So you've been to seminary. You've been to, I mean, you know, you've been a counselor, emotional and well-being counselor. I mean, you've done it all. But tell us where that book started, that first book. We want to know more about that because I want to dig deep into it. I have not read the book yet.
Girl, I want to hear all about it.
Yes,
Born and raised in Kingston myself.
Yes,
So
we're both Kingstonians, by the way. So talk to us about how that started. Yes.
The books are called Josephine's Jamaican Journey. Book 1, short stories in the yard. That's the first one.
I saw that.
The second one is called Josephine's Jamaican Journey, short stories. Book 2, Out and About. And the stories are told by Josephine, a little girl who is growing up in Kingston, Jamaica in the 1960s. And interestingly for the listeners, I happen to be Josephine. The stories are autobiographical. They're absolutely true according to my childhood memories. And I wrote these stories. I started writing them when I moved to Canada in 2000. I know you ladies, as you've moved around, sometimes you might have felt homesick. Well, that was me in Canada in 2001, 2002. And I found that when I was homesick, I remembered the happy times I had in my homeland. And so I started writing the stories. They were really just my memories for my sake. But, you know, as the computer era got on the way, I would shoot a story off to a friend and I would say, hey, look at what I just wrote. And people would say to me, you know, you should get those published. And I would be, yeah, wink, wink, sure. And in 2003, a very good girlfriend of mine, I say surreptitiously because she sent 2 of the stories to a publisher, and they resided in England. And here we are. I now have 2 volumes of those stories. And I am an author. Who would have known? I know Sharon mentioned that I'm a young lady, but not as young as you might think. And I did not anticipate doing this at this stage of my life, but here we are.
Is a volume 3 in the works?
There is actually. I started doing volume 3, but I decided that I would take this year to do some promotions on the first 2 books. And so I actually just got back to Jamaica today after spending 5 weeks in Canada, in Ontario, doing book signing in 5 individual books.
Proud of you. That is so
Yes.
amazing. We have to celebrate those wins, you know, when you're able to do things and actually signing books and producing things that you're so passionate about. It's so important. We just talked about documenting, right? And as we grew up in Jamaica, we understand we pass down traditions through our documentation, through recipes. What is one of the things that resounded with you when you were growing up? A recipe that you think that is your special thing that you do?
Well, you know, when I was in primary school, I was about maybe 10. My favorite meal is stew, peas, and rice. And I used to love, I used to love
stew peas, you know.
What we called back in the day, Tommy, was compositions.
Yes.
And who tell the teacher to give us, write a composition on your favorite meal? When I was done writing my composition, she gave me an A. And the truth is that when you were growing up in the 1960s, you didn't necessarily have formal education or a recipe to follow, but certainly there were always, certainly in my yard where I grew up, there was always somebody cooking something, and we didn't have covered kitchens most of the times. So you would see people doing their thing. And as a child, Josephine was just very inquisitive. And I think I have a very indelible memory, because honestly, when I wrote that first composition, I myself was surprised that I knew how to cook stew, peas, and rice.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Stew, peas, and rice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
I'm making some tomorrow.
Yes.
Let
And
me
there's so
tell
many
you, girls,
versions. Hmm.
that's exactly what I was going to tell you,
Yes.
because when I
Yes.
said to her, remember now, mine is in the inner city, and what I observed was that sometimes they would use a little more flour to make your stew peas a little thicker.
Thicker. Yes.
And the
Oh.
teacher said to me, well, if you have enough peas, that will thicken it as well.
As
And I
well. Yes.
remember, yes, I remember putting that into my brain. So as I
Hmm.
got older and I was able to afford more peas,
Right.
there I got my thickening agent. See,
And
so
that's
See, and nutritious.
Tonya hand make fashion.
That's it.
And that's a very
yes,
important thing.
In other words, for those that are listening that don't understand that Tanya Hannon make fashion, just be creative with whatever you
Very
have, whatever your hands you
yes,
can get your hands
yes,
into.
yes.
Just make it, just create, just be creative, because we're talking about creativity here.
In the colloquial
And
term.
let me tell you, she just gave me my recipe for my dinner tomorrow, because I'm making stew peas tomorrow evening,
Listen,
Tammy. I'm serious.
I'm making some
and I make it
sawfish.
different.
I'm gonna make some sawfish. I'm gonna cook some cooked down sawfish in a version of, because as we're going through Lent and going through all these different things, I figured that I'm gonna do some things a little bit differently.
Interesting. That's
But-
interesting. But Josephine, I want to hear about that, because I'm gnawing at it. I want to know about that yard. How did that story? I mean, I know you wrote stuff and you sent it to your friend, and your friend decided, you know what, this is book worthy. It's supposed to be turned into a book. But what were some of the things for the listeners, for our audience? Tell them about your growing up in Jamaica. What did that look like? What were some of the things that were intriguing that you wrote about that impressed this person to say, you know what, this must be put in a book format. It has to be put, your book has to be out there so people can read it, people can get to it. So what were some of the things?
I grew up, I don't know, you ladies must know the Spanish Town Road. It's a
Of
quite
course.
a long thoroughfare from
Absolutely.
downtown Kingston
Oh yeah, we're
all the way to the
Kingstonians.
capital, right?
Yes.
But when Josephine was growing up, and as she got older, she discovered how long it was. But for the first book, Josephine's world was 3 miles.
Yes.
I grew up in that area, Spanish Town Road, 3 miles, and I went to school actually where Spanish Town Road intersects with Hagley Park Road, Cockburn Garden Primary School. It then became all age, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, now it's a junior high.
Oh.
But so I grew up in those environments, and one of the most resounding memories that I have as a little girl was living in a tenement yard up on top of Payne Avenue. Now, all of that area has been transformed with government houses. But when
Yes.
I was growing up, there were these huge yards. And a tenement yard really is a huge piece of land owned by someone with different dwelling houses on it. Now, don't get it confused. A dwelling house in the tenement yard could be one room, or it could be two.
True. Yes.
Yes, or three, very rarely three, but that's what the tenement yard was made up of. And so one of the stories in my first book is called The Tenement Yard. And what Josephine has done in looking at the tenement yard is to introduce you to her neighbors, the various characters that are really, really vivid.
Right.
I will tell you, there was a mango tree, for instance, in that tenement yard that became the local community meeting place. Somebody would wander out of their house or their room with a mug of tea and sit under the mango
Mango
tree,
tree.
and another person would come and sit there. And before you knew it, there were neighbors sitting down just chatting the evening away, or if it was early morning, I kid you not, some people would be brushing their teeth at the standpipe because we had a communal pipe.
Pipe. Yes.
Yes. Others would be making up their morning, whatever they made for to eat in the morning. And so it was what communal living was. And so as a child, I heard and I experienced all that the adults had to say while we sat under the mango tree, and not on seats, not on formal chairs. There were drinks
Great.
crates,
Yes.
Of course. A rock stone.
seated chairs,
Bricks.
a
Cut
comfortable
down
brick.
Yes.
Yes,
Cut
yes.
down
So,
trees.
and you might say, well, this doesn't sound so inviting, but when I was homesick in Canada at 40 years old, I found those memories very comforting, because that was my growing up, and those were the things that I actually thought were happy times, and they were for me. They
And
were
that's where you
happy
learned a
times.
lot. I think
course.
all of us
Yes.
learned a lot from our elders coming into that room, into that space, into that communal yard, if you will, and having the
Yes.
conversations. And it was exchange of, again, recipes, exchange of conversations, of news. Some people couldn't read at that time, I'm sure. We talk about non-formal. Some of those people were not educated, but they were very knowledgeable.
Oh, yeah. What
And
they
that's
said.
the thing about it. Is
Very.
knowledge is well.
Street smarts. Street smarts.
And they passed
Exactly.
on those traditions through conversations that they had. When we talk
Oral
about politics,
traditions, yeah.
the politics was talked about then. We knew exactly what was going on. I grew up in the 70s, so it's a little bit different. But so even then, we didn't have TV. JBC signed off at a certain time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They were just the stripes
Exactly.
Oh,
coming
yeah.
down.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to have conversations. I call it Sunday on the veranda, because I'd go to my grandmother's house to play Scrabble, and I would hear, the old people, which were people in the 80s and 90s then, would come to my grandmother's home and would talk about everything else. And it was listening to them that made me the woman I am today, because they allowed you to, you were heard and not seen. I mean, seen and not heard, but you were there.
Exactly.
And as you
Grasping,
have said, yeah,
grasping, gathering nuggets.
the nuggets, and
Nuggets.
then now you're
Yes.
producing a book based on those nuggets that you have gained
Yes.
from
Yes.
talking to those people within that yard. And it's very important
Yes.
that in our formidable age and time that we have those conversations. We talk about traditions to younger people. So we need to bring our younger people into our yard, if you will.
Yes,
And, at
yes.
these it's at
And
the
share with
tables.
them.
Yeah,
I mean,
and share.
educate them. Because it's just like the
Yes.
other guests said
Yes.
earlier. This is what has been lost on us, our generation. Shame on us.
Yes.
Because I grew up in the 60s too, pretty much like you at the end, but I mean, still, it was the 60s.
Yes.
And same thing. We had that whole communal thing. We had a community, and that's what community is.
Yes.
People don't understand that's my definition anyway. You come and you get together in unity. That's what really community stands for. And so
And people
with
shared.
Yes.
They shared back in those
they
days
sure
with each
did
other.
Everything.
They
Yeah.
sure did, because I heard stories like, if I didn't have enough flour, I would share with my neighbor. I mean,
Yeah.
let me tell you, we were sharing and caring, and nobody would know that Miss P came over and got some sugar
Yes.
from Tammy, and I went over and got some oil, some cooking oil from you, Josephine. And
Yeah.
Mr. P over there gave me some white rum. I mean, water if I needed it.
Was
You
it
know
white
what I mean?
rum or was
I
it
mean, water. You know what?
Poor Mr. P, as I'm scandalizing him.
But let me tell you, this is what sharing and caring is about. This is what community is about. And honestly,
Yeah.
these days that we're in, not meaning to be grim or anything, but I think the days that we're in right now, especially in these United States of America and this world at large, it's forcing us to get back to basics. It's forcing us to get back to the community,
Slow down.
to the village.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
slowing us down, Josephine. And so
Yeah.
where you went to that yard, that big yard, that tenement yard, and
Yeah.
you got homesick and you missed that. There are people who say, me, forget it. I'm in Canada. I have 6 rooms and 10 bathrooms. So I prefer that living. But you see where it is? It's the mindset,
where the
Tammy.
heart is.
It's where the
Yes.
heart is, exactly.
Yes.
Because it
Yes.
brought you
Yes.
back to that place and that space, the happy moment where it started, where it all started. So tell us some more about those characters. I mean, where did you? I mean, I know you are Josephine in that book. We get that part.
Yes.
But where did you find your other characters? Who are they? I mean, are they true to life? I mean, have you shared with anyone? Has anyone identified? I mean, have you spoken to anyone from back then that says, man, that was some good time in a Josephine under the mango tree? Is there anybody who can
in my
connect?
second book, I speak of some of my friends who I went to primary school with. And one of them actually came to one of the book signings that I had.
Look at that.
Amazing.
I
And
love
so
that.
I've reached out to them and say, hey, look in the book. Your name's in the book, because there is a story in the second book called Inawachi Pumpkin, and we were all busy trying to upset the watchman who had a pumpkin patch and told us not to get our throw the balls into the pumpkin patch. And so
Breaking vines.
we used to have a song that we sang whenever somebody was in there trying to retrieve a ball, and we did it at the top of our voices just to get him to know that
Riled
somebody
up.
was right. So those girls are mentioned
Wow.
in my story.
Oh my goodness.
Wow,
And,
I love it.
Yeah, so there are people. The adults I haven't been in touch with, because Again, I am not as young as Sharon is trying to make out. Some of these people
Look,
are gone.
age is only a number, and I don't know who's counting because I tell people
I'm just
I don't
you
subscribe to the age stuff. I
know, well,
marinate. I'm getting more seasoned. So
Listen, as these
exactly.
silver
that's
hairs
it.
come in for me, I said, boy, I have to go dye some of these silver hairs now.
It's all good.
People I can't consult with because they're gone. But
Right.
some of the stories, for instance, one
I
of
love
the
it.
crippled puppy, for instance, what in my first book was a literal thing of Josephine praying for her pet.
Oh,
And seeing the result. I don't want to give, and the yellow hat again was a literal thing. And Miss Sheila is quite an interesting character in my first book. She was my first experience of a traveling sales lady. And when she came to put our things under the mango tree, I thought the things would never stop coming out of our bag.
Those are the crocus bag.
She
wow.
had she had bags that she carried.
Yes.
And interestingly enough, one of the things that really resonates with me still is in the middle of the heat in Jamaica, she wore wigs
Wow.
and she had on very colorful jewelry. And now that I'm watching some British programs from the 60s, that's where those plastic colorful jewelry
Jewelry,
is
yes.
Of course.
coming from. So
Yeah.
she was quite an innovative person back
And
in the
a woman of
60s.
esteem. Yes, exactly.
Yes, she was one of the first entrepreneurs that I came across.
Interesting.
So, and then there's Mama Fowley in the first book, and that's about a whole escapade of the kids playing around with an egg that they should not have done, and it led to many weeks and almost months of antagonism. So the stories in the first book are laugh out loud funny, some of them. I had
I
not
can't wait to get my hand on them,
I know.
Josephine.
yeah.
How
Book
can we
two,
get these books?
Okay, so the books are on Amazon.com and .ca. I now have them. You can order them through Indigo.
I saw
I
that.
have I have my personal website now through my publishers. Select Arrow Publishers are my publishers out of England.
Congrats.
And they thank you. And they have set up a website for me called joeywritesjamaica.com. So if you go onto that website, you get all the information about where the books are available.
I'm going to be presumptuous and tell you that I want mine signed. So, I mean, I
Of
may have to go
course.
meet you in Canada
I was
or
saying-
in Jamaica somewhere, but I want mine autographed. And I want my
Absolutely,
books
absolutely,
because
yes.
Where are you heading next? Where
What's
do you
your-
heading
yeah.
next?
Well, I just got home today,
just got home.
and we have a series of things. Read Across Jamaica Week in May coming up, and I'm hoping to be here for that and Teachers Day. And somebody actually just invited me just this evening back to an Indigo store in Canada in June.
nice.
I'm hoping to do some dates in England, in London in June, early June.
When
And
are you
then
coming to
Atlanta? You read my mind. I'm like,
Well, girls, you have
'cause-
to invite me.
well, Anya Jean is your biggest support over here. And I just
know.
joined the Happy Bunch. We just joined the Happy Bunch because Anya
is
Jean
my-
shout out.
my guru. She's my
Yes,
guru. Yes,
I know
yes,
that.
yes.
I mean, she is amazing. She is our hookup.
Absolutely is. Yes.
And
yes.
so I
we
know
will-
she,
we
you
will
know,
talk and get it together.
We're gonna get
Yeah,
it done. We're gonna get
Yes,
this done
yes,
because you're
yes.
you're gonna be on the road.
In
You're gonna be
cooler
on the
months,
road.
though, not in the summer here in Atlanta.
Oh,
It's
gosh,
hot
no.
Atlanta here, so
Oh,
you
my
definitely
goodness.
don't want
Yes.
to
And
be
there you
here.
have it, guys.
Oh.
Joey Wright's Toronto tour. So look, she just came off that tour. This is what it is. And not to knock Amazon, but I'm just
Well,
saying
with
that I want mine from you, Joey.
So Read Across Jamaica is coming up, which is
Read
very
it.
important.
Very
as an educator,
important. Yes.
That's so important that we have this opportunity for you to read. I'm sure you're going to be reading to these
Oh
students.
my goodness.
And,
Yes.
and of course, imparting some of those knowledge and those traditions. We talked about that with our previous.
Is there a date on that though? Is there a
in May.
date?
I
What's the
think
date?
May
Do you have that date?
6th and 7th. One is the Read
6th
Across
and
Jamaica
7th.
Day, and
Yes.
the other one is Teachers Day. So that week, they're doing a lot of activities that early week in May. Josephine is, as I said, autobiographical, and so the stories really resonate with people that grew up in my time, but I find that a lot of people are enjoying reading about the John Canoe bands, reading about
Absolutely.
Josephine's perspective, when the Emperor Haile Selassie drove past on Spanish Town Road and
Wow.
all the Rastamen came out. I'd never seen them before. And suddenly I was seeing hundreds of these people. And so, and then when Queen Elizabeth and her husband came in 1966, I was right there, front row to see it as well.
Wow.
Of the stories are they form queens, and on the parade, we call floats. Yes, I
Yes,
was there
yes,
when
yes.
many floats passed. I mean, I lived off Spanish Town Road, so we counted. My sister and I would count the hearse on a Sunday evening, going by to the Maple
To the Maple Cemetery.
Oh, God.
Yeah, yeah. So these are some of the
Wow.
stories
Yes.
that are there.
Wow.
When people are getting so tickled, they're reminded of the wonderful things that are not given to you because of money, but just your love of home and love of culture.
Of course. And you know what? You have brought us back there with these books, because I mean, look, I've heard of things, I've heard of stories, I've heard of all that stuff, but for you to chronicle, for you to get it in writing.
Yes.
I mean, there are people who are just revisiting their past and going,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Somebody took the time to document it, because
Yeah.
hey, so here we go, we have it. And that's
Yeah.
why we're thankful for people like you, Joey. I mean,
You girls
amazing.
will enjoy reading in a Blessed Weevil Peas, and it talks about the market.
Wow.
I hear people still
Blessed
come here
Weevil
and they go to the
Peas.
market, the Coronation Market.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So
I have
my
friends who
fond
go
memory.
back. Yeah.
Fond memory of my
This
grandmother.
market. Yes, yes. But it's called Blessed Weevil Peas because the lady who our aunt would leave us with to watch the kids while she wandered through the market, she would bless us every week, but the peas that she sold us had weevil. So the kids,
Blessed Weevil Peas.
Blessed Weevil Peas. And my auntie did not know because we kept it to ourselves and just laughed among ourselves. So the stories are really
I mean, you talk about a child. Talk about a childhood. I mean, this.
Yeah.
We hate to see you go because we're wrapping up. But when I tell you, Josephine, we thank you and we look forward to having you here in Atlanta.
Absolutely. We will.
And
Yes.
we're leaving that invitation open, wide open. So then you'll be right here in the studio with us
Yes.
in person.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking for, and we're gonna put our money where our mouth is. We're gonna talk about it some more. But we just
Yes,
thank you for
yes.
coming on. I mean, Josephine, we appreciate you
Thank you so
and
much.
entertaining us. Blessed Weevil.
I'm thinking about the different ice
Let me tell
and
you.
all these different
What?
things right now.
The jujus.
Yes.
The judges, the
Stupid.
paradise plum, the stupid.
Yes.
Buster.
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 Yes. Hold on. What's the other one? Jackass Scorn. That's
Yes.
it.
I just want some Jumplon
Yes.
right now.
Oh my God. And drops. And drops.
And the drops.
Gizadas.
Well, thank you
Putting
so
us
much,
there.
Miss
We
Joey.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you for being here. We look
What a
forward
blessing.
to seeing the journey that you will be on this
Yes.
summer.
Book
we
3.
wish you all the best as you promote
you.
these 2 books, these 2 volumes. But we're looking forward to book 3 so we can
Yes.
have this trilogy and have everything together. So
And
when you come
educating
to
our young
Atlanta,
ones over there in Jamaica.
passing
We love that.
traditions on.
We love that.
So
Thank
you're
you.
now family, and so we expect you to be back on Speak Harmony, and we thank you for all that you do as a Jamaican, as a proud Kingstonian.
What good.
One love.
Yes. What
Thank
good.
you so much.
What good. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
So as
Yes.
we wrap up now, we are so thankful for all of our guests who came on today.
Oh
It
my
has been a jam-packed day.
Yes.
Can't believe an hour is gone already. We have to start extending the show as we go through this. But APAT Media, we thank you for being our sponsors and continuously supporting Speak Harmony as we come on and we collaborate each Tuesday here on APAT Media. We can be seen on YouTube as well as on Facebook, as Sharon is posting. So please
subscribe.
like and subscribe. Send us
Share.
some messages. Let us know what you want to see here on Speak Harmony.
Yes.
But without you, we cannot do this. So we're going to ask you to subscribe, share, and of course, like. So Sharon, over to you.
One love. Speak harmony. If you do nothing else, just remember, right here, we speak harmony. And we look forward to seeing you next week, same time, 7 to 8. Until then, we just want to say thank you again to our sponsors, APAT Media, for hooking us up. I mean, it's a full group. I mean, APAT Media Group is a full service creative video and photo production company specializing in podcasting, multi-camera recording, and live streaming. And to check them out, you can find them at info@apatmedia.com. apapmedia.com. Again, info@apapmedia.com. So until next time, next Tuesday, same time, same place, 7 to 8 p.m. See you then. One love.
Meetings of the mind where wisdom is shared. Tamara and Sharon, a duo prepared to light up the path, to bridge every gap. Access meets opportunity, there's no turning back. Forward with fortitude, the future's in sight. Together we rise like stars in the night. Authenticity reigns, love leads the way. We're speaking in harmony every single day. Speak harmony, let your voice intertwine. So let's move forward, ever bold and true. With Sharon and Tamara, the vision breaks through.